What is up, everybody? Josh Engleman here for the process at Stokastic.com. Off a couple days off. We had MLB All-Star break, sports grind to a halt. So I grind to a halt. Went to Chicago, hung out with the boys at the company for a bit. It was a good time. But now we are back, right back to what we had been doing. So we are going to take a look at the brief contest that exists for today's MLB slate, which will be mostly useless to everybody, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to look at this Saturday's MMA contest, that's for sure. And we're going to take a look at last Saturday's MMA results because I'm really happy with what I had, even though financially it didn't matter at all. Before we do any of that stuff, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live, and then follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Big one after that, and I'm repping the brand right now. Go sign up at PrizePicks, everybody. Link in the description. If you do it, and you use the promo code Awesemo, AWESEMO, you'll get a $100 match deposit bonus. So if you put in $50, they only match up to 50. But if you put in 100, they will match that with a full $100. You don't want to skip out on free money like that, everybody. So make sure you're taking advantage. Again, go to PrizePicks, use that promo code Awesemo, get yourself that scratch. We're going to hit on the contest first for today because it's quick. These are the only 4 contests on DraftKings today for the slate that locks at 1 o'clock, I believe. Yeah, I think it's 1 o'clock. These are the only 4 contests that have a prize pool north of 10K. It's a 3-game slate, and there's nothing out there. So I am expecting to throw 20 into the 4-seamer, and that's just going to be it. There's an outside chance that I decide that I want to do the mini-max. I just haven't registered for anything yet. I still have to prep content for it. Obviously, if you can get into the relay throw, you're still getting into a really good contest. The 150K prize pool, it's still 50K up top. All the normal stuff for the relay throw looks good. So if this is your normal contest, feel free to continue to move forward as if it's still good. And these guys, like the 4-seamer's worse than it normally is. I mean, if we just even look at the most recent day, 4-seamer, 37 times your buy-in if you get a top 1%. We're down to 32, paying 38% to the top 1% instead of the 44. Even the mini-max right here, 43% of the prize pool goes to the top 1%. Now 35. I don't love this short slate. We're not really coming back out of the MLB All-Star break until tomorrow because this slate is barely real. MMA, on the other hand, let's move my little Apple window joint thing. How do I make my dock go back over there? Come on. There we go. All right, back to Excel now. That was annoying. For MMA, it's the exact same thing that we had, essentially the exact same thing that we had last Saturday. So if you look at MMA on 7/16, the only difference here is that the hook brings you back. Now, 5,800 entries last Saturday. It's up to 7,300 this time. Worse contest, though. Everything else is the same. 500K up top for the throwdown. Great contest, but you're putting in 2,700. The armbar and the hook are both fine, but again, pretty sizable outlays. But the mini-max, it's the same contest. 71,000 entries, 60K prize pool. It's all the same. I'll be doing the mini-max once again because that's really all you can do when it comes to MMA without going to just 20 like the haymaker and a big, the haymaker and the counter punch combo is like the one you can get us to for $100, but it's just hard for MMA. And then next week will be a very different discussion. Going to the UFC pay-per-view, the Amanda Nunes event, live final for DraftKings. I'm going with Adam, so we'll be breaking that one down. So make sure you guys are ready for that one. But again, for the MMA, if you have the money, you want to get into one of those top 3. Technically speaking, the armbar is probably going to be your best bet right now. $5 entries, $750 to max. You cover 1.25% of the contest entries, but you get 46% to the top 1%. And that matters. That top 1% matters so much in contests like this because of how many potential duplicates there are, which is what we're about to talk about right now. So let's pull up lineup study for this past Saturday's event. Now, right out of the gate, I will just let you guys know. Lost about 50% of my money, and I had Brian Ortega in 60% of my contests. Brian Ortega was injured. If for those that don't know, Brian Ortega got injured like a minute into the fight, separated his shoulder. Fight just ended. And like some of the scoring in here is not showing up correctly. That's not really what I want to show you guys. What I want to show you guys is why I think I made good progress. And we'll start with just showing my lineups quickly. As you can see, I've got this sorted out to just mine, and lots and lots of lineups. There's 71,000 entries in the mini max that I was in. 71,000 entries. I had 43 lineups that were not duped, with another 40 that only had one additional dupe. That's 83 of my 150 where at worst I was duped with one other person. I'm very, very, very happy about that. And it's better than that, too. I mean, 26 for 3, 13 for 4. Very, very few stragglers getting me into double-digit dupes. That makes me very happy. I could not be much happier with that sort of result. I'll show you why in a second. And that'll happen right now, because I want you guys to know that this isn't just me. If we look here, and this is what I want. This is the most important thing to me, or I think the most interesting thing. The thing that lets me know that I'm on my way to what I should be doing. And I think this is going to be important for everybody. Probably not something that should be talked about on videos, but that's not the way that this should work. The way that I have this sorted, right now I am in the mini max. And you can see here that I've filtered down to just 150 max players. It's very different data if you don't do that. So this is only 150 maxers, which is about half of the contest. 32,100 entries in the mini max are 150 max entries out of the 71,000. So about half. 3,487 of those entries are single dupes. So like no dupes, rather. One lineup, that's it. If we just want to talk about it from a math perspective, a little over 10%, rounded up, we'll say 11% of lineups in the mini max for 150 maxers were ultimately not duped. 11%. Now remember, my number was 43 of 150, so 29%. Very happy there. But again, 11%. If we look at the big MMA contest from Saturday, it is 2,717 unduped entries. Only 11,250 150 maxers. 24% of lineups in a bigger contest, more money. So more sharps, more lineups that are 1% or that are not duped. So the difference between the mini max and the throwdown, more than double. So I'm certain I did exactly what I wanted to do. I had more in a mini max where there's twice as many entries. Remember, it's harder, significantly harder, to have an unduped lineup in a 71,000 person field than it is in a 30,000 person field. I had more unduped lineups in the mini max than the throwdown did on average. Moving forward perfectly. Here's how you know it's sharp. This is where it gets really interesting. The throwdown had an average aggregate ownership in their unduped lineups of 161%. The mini-max had an average of 152%. So the unduped lineups that existed in the throwdown were chalkier. And that is how you know things are better. If you can create lineups that are better and also unduped, that's the goal. If you can take on more ownership, but also still be like you want to be not duped and not as ridiculously far away from the field as possible. And I'm pretty happy about the way that all shook out. I didn't look at my average ownership yet. I have a feeling this one's going to be a low number and it's going to make me look bad. 152. Okay, I can handle that. It's lower than what I would want it to be, but it actually works out. You guys are going to see some really ridiculous things when I click this X. Look at some of the salaries that I used. 40,000. I left 9,500 on the table. all the way upwards of, leaving about 7 or 8. First, I thought I was a little nervous about that. And then I looked at the 150s that existed for this contest, and you start to see some names that look familiar. The boss man, Alex Baker, left $11,600 on this MMA lineup this week. That's more than anything that I left. Bunch more of the boss man. You see a lot of names in this 150 that will look familiar to you guys that show up in contests pretty regularly. But I realized quickly, I wanted less dupes, and I needed to use less salary. All of those things happened, and it looks like I'm working towards the path that other pros are working on for MMA. I'm pretty excited about that. I think this contest went well. I probably would have been pretty close to profitable if Brian Ortega is able to just simply finish the fight. When you're in 60% of lineups, like just adding an extra 40-something points is going to help tremendously. But all you're trying to do is win. And I did have one. Let's see, where did that lineup finish? So I was sweating this lineup here. I assume it's this lineup. Yeah, this is the one that has Ortega. Oh, the scoring didn't get pulled in here correctly, but this was an unduped lineup that was a 5 of 6 waiting on Brian Ortega. Ultimately didn't matter, but if he puts up a 100-point score, this would climb pretty far, given the fact that it did not have a duplicate. Did not matter. But when push comes to shove, nothing more than 15 and a ton of singles. As far as MMA is concerned, gigantic success. We'll see how it looks on Monday of next week when we review all of this Saturday's MMA card. Good luck for baseball today. It's a terrible slate. I hope you guys are still playing. Watch Live Before Lock with me and Adam at noon today. And then we're getting back to it tomorrow morning. Oh, watch my sports betting video on OddsShopper too, by the way, guys. Dropping picks like crazy. We're trying to beat opening lines. I recorded this video last night at like 7 o'clock. Woke up this morning. All 3 bets that I gave out have moved significantly since I gave them out. I gave you guys an extra hook. I gave you an over at 6.5. That line is now 7. I think I gave you guys the Giants at like plus 140. They're plus 120 now. So there's value out there that you could take advantage of if you hit those openers as fast as possible. I'm giving you that on the OddsShopper channel 5 days a week. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for joining me on the process. Back again tomorrow, looking through a giant standard issue, what I assume 14 or 15 game baseball slate. Go sign up at PrizePicks. Rep the brand if you have the chance. Awesemo is the promo code. Later on, everybody.